No babysitter lasted a day with the Millionaire's quadruples until a disabled black maid changes everything. The grand staircase of the mansion curled like a serpent, elegant and untouchable. Yet beneath the chandelier's glow, there was no elegance, only noise. For children ran wild, their laughter sharp, their footsteps echoing like thunder. The Millionaire's quadruplets had earned a reputation none their age should carry. Uncontrollable. It wasn't their fault. Not entirely. Their mother had passed when they were still toddlers, and their father buried his grief under endless business meetings, throwing money at a problem he didn't know how to solve. Babysitters, nannies, tutors. One after another, they arrived with promises of discipline, patience, and skill. One by one, they left in tears or fury, vowing never to return. No one lasted a day. The children learned quickly. They discovered that chaos was a weapon. The louder they screamed, the faster adults cracked. The more they disobeyed, the sooner people walked out. It became a game. How fast can we make them leave? Then Rosa came. She arrived on a gray morning, a woman in her mid-40s, skin deep and warm like polished mahogany. Her hair pinned neatly, her uniform a soft light blue. But what caught the children's attention wasn't her smile. It was the wheelchair. Her legs were weak, rendered nearly useless from an old accident. The chair carried her wherever she went, the polished wheels whispering against the marble. To the quadruplets, she looked like easy prey. A new game. "She can't catch us," whispered one boy, grinning. "She'll be gone before dinner," added his sister. But Rosa only looked at them and said, "I didn't come here to chase you. I came here to stay." The first hours were war. The children hurled their toys across the room, spilled juice on the carpet, and shouted so loud the maids in the kitchen flinched. Rosa didn't flinch. She didn't scream, didn't threaten, didn't beg. Instead, she wheeled herself to the center of the room, placed her gloved hands calmly on her lap, and waited. Confusion flickered across their faces. No adult had ever done that before. Babysitters always panicked. This one just watched. When they finally slowed, curiosity dragging them closer, Rosa spoke. "Do you think I'm going to leave like the others?" The youngest boy smirked. "You will. Everyone does." Rosa leaned forward, her eyes sharp, but kind. "Let me tell you something. People used to say the same about me. They thought I couldn't do anything because of this chair. They laughed. They doubted. But I didn't give up on myself. And I won't give up on you." The word struck deeper than any lecture. For the first time, the quadruplets didn't see a maid. They saw someone who understood what it felt like to be doubted. Still, they tested her. They ran up the stairs knowing she couldn't follow. Rosa didn't chase them. She waited at the bottom, calling up, "You'll have to come down sometime. And when you do, I'll be here." Hours later, when they returned sweaty and out of breath, she was still there, smiling patiently. They tried locking her in the laundry room. Rosa calmly knocked until they opened the door. And when they expected her to yell, she only said, "That trick won't make me leave. Try harder." Their jaws dropped. Slowly, their defiance cracked. At lunch, when the eldest girl pushed her plate away defiantly, Rosa didn't scold. She lifted the spoon herself, tasting the food. "Not bad. Needs salt, but don't waste it. Someone worked hard to make it." Her words carried weight, and for the first time, the girl picked up her fork without argument. By evening, the storm had quieted. The quadruplets gathered around Rosa in the sitting room, restless but curious. She told them stories, not fairy tales, but truths. How she once dreamed of being a dancer before her accident. How people said she would never smile again. And how she chose every day to prove them wrong. Her voice went through the room like a lullaby. And the children listened, really listened. Their eyes softened, their breathing slowed. And when laughter finally returned, it wasn't cruel or mocking. It was genuine. That was the moment the father walked in. The millionaire, exhausted from meetings, stepped through the doorway, expecting disaster. But instead of chaos, he saw his 4 children clustered around Rosa's chair, their faces glowing with joy. His jaw dropped, his hands rising to his head in disbelief. Because what no one else had managed in years, this woman in a wheelchair had done in a single day, and the sight left him speechless. The father stood in the doorway, stunned, but he didn't speak. Something told him not to interrupt. This wasn't his moment. It was theirs. Rosa sat in her chair. The 4 children gathered around her like planets circling a sun, their faces, once mischievous masks of defiance, now glowed with curiosity and warmth. The eldest boy leaned against her wheel, as though it were the safest place in the house. The two girls sat cross-legged in front of her, eyes wide. The youngest, who once delighted in throwing tantrums, rested his chin on her lap, listening intently to every word. She was telling them about her accident. Not in detail, but enough. "I thought my life was over," she said softly, her voice steady, her gaze moving across their little faces. "Everyone around me believed I couldn't do anything anymore. They were ready to put me away, hide me, forget me. But I decided something. I told myself, if I can still breathe, I can still matter." The children were silent. For kids who thrived on noise, the quiet was shocking. Their eyes burned with questions they didn't know how to ask. Finally, the eldest girl whispered, "Didn't it hurt when they said that?" Rosa's smile was sad, but sure, it hurt more than the accident itself. "But I learned something. People give up when they believe no one cares. If even one person stays, one person believes in you, then you can fight through anything." She placed a gloved hand over her heart. "And I won't give up on any of you." Her words hung in the air like a promise. The youngest boy squirmed, eyes wet, though he tried to hide it. "Is that why you didn't leave? Even when we locked you in the laundry?" Rosa chuckled, shaking her head. "Yes, I stayed because you're worth staying for." Something cracked in them then. The walls they'd built out of noise and mischief, the armor of rebellion, began to crumble. For the first time, they weren't testing her to see if she'd leave. They were testing themselves to see if someone could really stay. "Do you think?" one of the girls asked hesitantly. "We could be like you, strong even if people don't believe in us." Rosa's eyes softened. She leaned forward, her voice low but fierce. "You already are. You just don't know it yet." A hush fell over the group. Then the eldest boy stood, walked to the table, and quietly picked up the crayons they had thrown earlier. Without a word, he handed them to his siblings. Together, the four children began to draw, their hands moving clumsily, but with intent. "What are you making?" Rosa asked. "A picture of us," the youngest answered proudly. "Us with you? Because you didn't give up on us." Rosa's throat tightened. She wheeled closer, watching as the paper filled with messy lines and bright colors. For kids surrounding a smiling woman in a wheelchair, her arms wide, a sun drawn above her head. The picture was crooked, uneven, childlike, but it was beautiful. When the father finally cleared his throat from the doorway, his children didn't scatter as they once would have. They stayed close to Rosa, clutching the drawing protectively. He stepped into the room slowly, careful not to break the fragile piece. The eldest boy turned, holding up the picture. "Papa, look. We made this for Rosa." The man blinked, his heart swelling with a mix of pride and disbelief. He nodded but said nothing more. He knew this moment wasn't his to own. It belonged to the woman who had done what no one else could. Rosa looked at the children, her smile trembling. "Thank you," she whispered. "This is the most precious gift anyone has ever given me." The quadruplets grinned, their eyes bright. For once they weren't trying to push someone away. For once they had found someone who stayed. And in her they found a piece of themselves worth holding on to. And in that mansion that had echoed with chaos for so long, a new sound rose. The steady hum of belonging, the fragile but unbreakable bond between a woman who refused to leave and four children who finally believed they were worth staying for. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments where in the world are you watching from. We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.